เองได้นะไม่ควรมีใครจะบอกฉันว่าฉันควรแต่งงานเมื่อไหร่มีลูกกี่คนฉันควรจะทำยังไงในชีวิตฉันควรจะเป็นผู้ตัดสินชีวิตของฉันเองแบบเนี้ยมันก็เลยทำให้ผู้หญิงหลายคนเนี่ยเกณฑ์แบบว่าเซลฟ์คอนโทรลแล้วก็เลยทำให้ประชากรลดลงแทนที่มันจะรีบแต่งงานเชื่อพ่อแม่เนี่ยบอกลงไม่เชื่อแล้วหนูเป็นเจ้าของตัวเองหนูจะเลือกว่าหนูจะแต่งเมื่อไหร่และหนูจะมีลูกกี่คนอย่างเงี้ยประชากรมันก็เลยลดลงแล้วก็เมื่อก่อนเนี่ยเราเชื่อศาสนาว่าศาสนาเขาห้ามใช้เบิร์ธคอนโทรลนู่นนี่นั่นแต่พอเราเรียนเรื่องแบบว่า human rights เรียนเรื่อง empowerment อะไรอย่างเงี้ยแล้วก็แบบโอเคฉันจะไม่เชื่อศาสนาแล้วฉันจะเชื่อตัวเองว่าฉันควรจะมีลูกไหมเนี่ยสถานการณ์การเงินฉันเป็นแบบนี้อะไรเงี้ยเลยค่ะ ยังไม่พูดเลยไอ้ที่อย่างเลยนะแม่อะไรนะถามว่าใส่พริกไปเดี๋ยวพี่ขอ copy ก่อน International Trade คือตรงเนี้ยของเซ็กชันอะเราไม่ที่มันเที่ยวอันนั้นไปเลยยังนะอ่ะโอเค online people คะ online people send me your nickname ค่ะ in the chat box I'll get back with you guys นะคะ let me do the on-site people first ขิมจ้ะ weekly ค่ะ weekly ปัญญาโอเคจ้ะฟิล์มค่ะ โจจ้ะโจ
ครับ
หมวยค่ะเมื่อกี้เหมือนเห็นหมวย
ออนไลน์ค่ะ
weekly โอเค weekly โจ นนท์
ครับ
มาริยามโอเค I saw หมวย โอเค จอนนี่ค่ะ บิ๊ก เป้ค่ะ พิซซ่าจ้ะโอเคค่ะกอล์ฟค่ะ คอปเตอร์จ้ะ
ออนไลน์ครับ
โอเคค่ะ ซาจ้า โอเคค่ะ พราว พริม สมาย พิมพ์ คอปเตอร์ โอเค จีนค่ะ โอเคค่ะ มอส ยาหยีตีเบียร์นัดนัดนัดลุกค่ะลุกโอเคค่ะเบส
ออนไลน์ออนไลน์
อิงค่ะเกียร์ค่ะนิ้งค่ะจ้ะตินเหมือนซอยอยู่ in here พิมand พริมโอเคค่ะพริมเบสไปแล้วจ้ะโอเคเบสหวยคอตเตอร์มาริกาวิกลี่แนทโอเค Okay guys, please have a look at the Google Classroom more right now. I updated a few things here. Your exam still be on the same day on the 18th of June from 3 to 6 p.m. Google Classroom. No need to log on Meet. On the 15th of June, we are going to have Q&A session, which is going to be on Wednesday. On this day, I will only be here to answer your question. I am not going to give you any new lecture on the 15th. If you are okay with all the content and you do not have any question for me, no need to attend class on this day. I will not take attendance on the 15th. You can stay home and study on your own. But if you think you want to talk to me, ask me questions about questions that I gave you, or ask me to take a look at some of your questions, if it's okay, if you're on the right track, you can discuss with me on that day in person. Do not send me all the example of your answers and ask me to look in the email or in line. Only come and talk to me. And I won't be able to look at all your questions. Just pick the one that you are not so certain. I can take a look at it and give some comments. Alright. So from now on, please start looking at all those questions and try to maybe make an outline of what you want to write in those questions. Study in advance so that you will know what you miss out, what you don't understand. You can come and talk to me on the 15th Q&A session. Okay. Now, I have class from 10 to 12 as well. If you do not want to come at 12 to 2, then feel free to come at 10 to 12 on the 15th. So basically, the Q&A session start from the 10 to 2, 4 hours. You can come at any time, or you can come at 10 and stay until 2, your choice. But if you don't want to come, you think that you're fine, you can study on your own, no need to come, no attendance. The lecture that will be in the midterm start from the day 1, from the first day of lecture up until the 13th. The content cover until the 13th. But I will point out again to you guys which slide is the last slide for the midterm. Okay, just roughly speaking, until the 13th. Okay. Below this, up now. อุ๊ยสวยแล้วเท่าไหร่โอ้ยแล้วดูอะไรมาวะ A 225สวยแล้ว เด็กๆรอแป๊บ Online people, can you still hear me? I believe so.
Yes ค่ะ
โอเคจ้ะ ทำอะไรวะเนี่ยโอเคโอเคค่ะออนไลน์ people ค่ะ
ครับ
I put 2 assignment in the system last night. This term, we are going to have only 3 assignment. Forget about the syllabus. Syllabus said 4, but this time I'm going to make it only 3 assignment. So assignment 1 worth 10 points. Assignment 2 and 3 worth 15 points each to reduce your workload. All right. I add more scores in assignment 2 and 3. For assignment 3, I will post it right after we finish lecture 5. 70% of lecture 5 will be in your assignment 3. And there will be one video clip that's quite long, lasts about 50 minutes. You're going to have to watch that and also answer a few questions in assignment 3. So 70% from the content in the PowerPoint slide in lecture 5 and 30% from the video clip. Right? That's it, your last assignment for this term. 3 assignment only. The first one 10 points, second one and the third one 15 points each. Okay, that's all. I wanted to let you know. Apart from these 3 assignments, we have 2 major exams and that's it. We don't have any quizzes or anything else. Just 2 major exams and 3 assignments and you're done with this course. No presentation, no nothing. Back to STEAM. Lecture 4. Factors that cause the decline in death rate in early factor that cause a decline in death rate in early 18th to 19th century. 5 major factors right here. The first factor is improvement of nutrition as a result of international trade. Improvement of nutrition as a result of international trade. What I'm trying to say here is that countries around the world gained better diplomatic relationship with one another. They became friends. And later on, they agreed to enhance one another economy. So they trade with one another. They exchange food products with one another. Allows countries around the world to experience products from other regions. So, products that could be found in certain continent could be found anywhere now in any country. Okay, because of the trading that we have. Like right now, if you go to the supermarket in Bangkok, you will see variety types of products from different countries around the world. So products are no longer specific to certain countries anymore. Products can be found in most of the countries around the world. Like in the past, the fermented fish or fish sauce could only be found in Thailand only, right? Could only be found in Thailand. But now since we trade with one another more, we exchange, we export, we import So fish sauce could be found anywhere now in the world, right? So products are no longer specific to certain region. People exposed more to variety types of nutrition. Exposed more to variety types of nutrition. The stability of food supply increased. Stability of food supply increased. People felt comfortable with the amount of food that they have. That's question number one that caused the decline in the factor number one that caused the decline in death rate. Food was plenty, variety types of nutrition and all. Second factor, improvement of transportation. Improvement of transportation allow food to be distributed throughout the region. In the past, when the transportation was very poor, only certain group of people had access to food, mostly the people who live in the city where transportation was reasonable. But people who live in the remote area, the further area, they did not have access to food. It was hard to deliver the food to them. So there's a decline, there's a high in death rate among people who live in the distant area or in the remote area. When the transportation improved, we can distribute food anywhere now. Everyone in every corner have more access to food supply. It reduced the death rate. Now, factor number 3, improvement of agricultural practice. We practice both monoculture and intercultivation. It means that farmers can choose to grow only one type of crops if they like, and some farmers can grow variety types of things on one piece of land. Okay, some farmers prefer to practice monoculture and grow only one thing. But some farmers in the same community, they practice intercultivation. They grow variety types of things on their land. They have more variety types of products that they produce. So, more food products for the people. At the same time, apart from people practicing either monoculture or interculture, the agricultural sector developed new equipment that help revolutionize agriculture. Very important here. They invented new agricultural equipment that help revolutionize the agricultural sector. The first invention is silo. S-I-L-O, silo. A big container that help preserve the grain, help improve the quality of the grain. Not only that help preserve, but it also help improve the quality of the grain. I don't know if you ever seen this, but if you travel to the agricultural area, you will see a big aluminum tank, big tank in a plantation. That's silo. This is a place where the farmers keep their grain. Okay. What I'm trying to say here is that before the invention of silo, the farmer did not want to produce more or did not want to produce extras because they have nowhere to keep their grains. They only had the barn. Well, within the barn, it's very hard to protect their grain because there are a lot of bugs, rats, squirrels, and things like that that always come and eat up their grain. And sometimes the moisture destroy the grain, make it so moldy. It gets rotten. All right. So farmers thought that why produce more? Why produce extra when we have nowhere to keep? Those extra grain that we produce are going to go to waste. Okay, it's gonna be a waste of our energy, waste of our effort to produce more and have nowhere to save our grains. So farmer only produce just enough to sell at the local market. They kind of have some idea how much that the people want their products. So they only produce just enough, no extra. Did not want to waste their time, their effort. Did not want the food to go spoil. So the food product was quite low. Farmer afraid of producing too much, the food was quite low. But after the invention of silo, it helped a lot of things for the farmer. First, the farmer felt that if they produce more and that if they cannot sell it, they can save it in the silo and sell it again when there's a demand. Okay? It's not going to be a waste of their energy. The product will still be there and they can sell it later on. The second benefit of having silo is that if the farmers are not pleased with the price, okay, if they're not pleased with the price right now, let's say if you think that the price of the rice that you produce is still low, if you sell it now, you might not make profit. You don't have to sell it now. You save it in the silo. You sell it when the price increase. That will allow you to make more profit. But before the invention of silo, whatever the price is, you're gonna have to sell it. You have no bargaining power. Okay? You cannot sell it for later because the rice gonna go spoil. So you have to sell it at the price in the market at that time. But with the silo, you're like, okay, the price is not good right now. I'm gonna save it. I'll sell it later when the price increases to make more profit. And within the silo, it has the temperature control. It sucks out the moisture from the grain. It allows the grain to stay for a long period of time without getting mold. It also helps improve the quality of the grains, like the rice. Any rice that has a lot of moisture, it's not, the price of it is going to be very low. People do not like the rice that has a lot of moisture in it. They like dry rice. So the silo help improve and maintain the quality of the products. You can sell it at higher price. Now the next invention is the freezing system. The freezing system allows the farmers to reach the distant market. In the past, before the freezing was invented, the farmer could only sell their products in the local market because if they deliver their products to a distant area, it will take time and then the product will be spoiled before it reaches the customer's hand. So they can only sell their products in the local market. With the local market, they have lower demand for the product. It means that the farmer was limited to certain amount of income. But when the freezing system came along, the farmer can choose any market that they want to sell their products. They can choose any market that they want to sell their products. They choose the markets that have high demand for the products. The markets that are willing to pay for the expensive price of the products. Like for example, durian. Back in about 30, 40 years ago, durian price was very cheap. It was dirt cheap, like 5 baht, 10 kilograms, 5 baht per kilogram, 10 baht per kilogram. That's about it. Because the durian farmers could only sell durian within Thailand. Right? Small market, domestic market. Right? And then a lot of the people in Thailand have durian at home. So they don't really have to buy the durian from the market and things like that. So the price of durian remained very low. It was easy to get durian. But later on, there was a big demand from the Chinese people, from the Japanese people to consume the durian. And we now have the freezing system come along. The farmers thought that, well, if we sell the durian in Thailand, we only get about 5 baht, 10 baht per kilogram, a few baht profit. But if we sell it to the Chinese, to the Japanese, we can make bigger profit. So most of the durian, 10%, 90% of the durian these days are to be exported to foreign countries. The farmers gain much profit from it. They gain so much wealth. Now the durian farmers, they, became so wealthy, so rich, because they don't have to stick with the Thai market anymore. They can sell it to those people who are willing to pay. In Japan, they pay over 5,000 baht per just chani durian, or 10,000 for mon tong. So farmers make more money from the freezing system. And plus, with the freezing system, it allows food from different regions to be distributed to all countries around the world. We now have access to, random food from different countries. Like we now consume salmon that are not originated here, strawberries, peaches, and things like that. More diverse foods. Factor number 4. After we receive more variety types of food, our bodies are able to improve the immune system that are more tolerant to simple diseases. We became more tolerant because we have better immune system. And the immune system is better because of the good food. Good food make good immune system. Immune system help fight the diseases. Now, a lot of people used to experience severe effects from smallpox, the chicken pox, diarrhea, and all. Some people die because of this diarrhea or chicken pox. But these days, we have better immune system. We are more tolerant to all these diseases. We survive more. Number 5, improvement of laws, regulations, and policies that aim to protect the physical environment. We establish laws, regulations, and policies to protect the physical environment. So now the physical environment is cleaner. It is cleaner. It has less pollution, so lives are safe. Death rate drop down. That's allค่ะ. Moving. Variations, I'm going to summarize it. Variation. Now, in one country, birth rate and death rate can be various region to region. Like, for example, in Thailand, the central region has lower birth rate and lower death rate because the central regions, the cities are more developed. People have access to medical care, access to education, access to food supply. So lives are safe in the central region. And most people in the central region practice capitalist activity. They are too busy with their schedule, did not have time to spend on the family. So the birth rate reduced. But people who live in other parts of Thailand, southern part, northeastern part, the birth rate still remain high. So as death rate. Now, my point here is that if we want to understand the birth rate and death rate in certain countries, we should look at economic activities of the areas that we are interested in. Look at the activities. Look at the level of the development. These two things can tell us if the birth rate will be high or low. We cannot assume that the whole country experience the same birth rate or death rate. Cannot assume that. We have to look at province by province or region by region, and also look into economic activities that the people do. Look at the level of the development. Like I said, with the capitalist activities, birth rate will be low, death rate will be low as well. Agricultural activity, both are high in birth rate, high in death rate. Level of development as well. Highly developed, low in birth rate, low in death rate. Poor developed, high in both birth rate and death rate. Right? That's all. I don't know if I told you this question, but definitely this question will be in your test. I would like for you to explain บอกไปแล้วอ่ะ Let me take a look.นี้ไปยังบอกไปยัง How the Christian Church in Europe ไปยังไปแล้วใช่ไหมโอเคไปแล้วจบ Just making sureหลายคำถามจำไม่ได้เลยมึนหมดแล้ว Okay, I just talked to Violet, and she informed me that there are two more answers that I did not, two more questions that I haven't answered yet. Explain how the numbers of population influence the people behavior in the area and the level of the development in the area. You have it. I gave it to you last time. ลองเข้าไปดูใช่ไหมแต่ยังไม่ได้ตอบงั้นจะตอบแล้วนะ When there's a high density of population in the area, people are going to behave aggressively. People are going to be more active to get the resources that they need to sustain their life. People are not going to be so nice to one another. They are not going to be living in harmony or anything like that. They're going to be so active, fighting, competing with one another because the resources may not be enough for everyone. If you take a look at Bangkok or New York City, when there's one job position available, hundreds of people line up for the job interview, just one position open. Hundreds of people competing one another to get that position, right? So there's a big competition in the area where there's a high density of population. Very hard to live life, very hard to maintain reasonable standard of living. Okay, people are quite aggressive. if you take a look at the area where there's a low density of population, people are more lenient to one another, more relaxed, more friendly to one another, more sharing to one another. Take a look at the countryside where things are available for people, natural resources available, vegetations available. So sometimes you share what you have with your neighbors. Like you collect some bananas from your farm today and then you share with your neighbors. People are more generous, more relaxed, less active. Because people don't know why they have to be active when things are ready for them, when things are available for them. Why do they have to act to keep being so active? They're quite laid back, they're more lenient to one another. That's it. Now, anywhere that has high density of population, there's a stress, there is a stress to the government to provide basic need for the people in the area. The only way out to good life is to use technology to organize things or to provide things for the people in the city. One more time,นะคะ. The density of the population, if it's high, it gives threats to the government to find a way to maintain people's standard of living and to make sure that everyone has access to basic needs. That's the government duty. The only way out for the government is to use more technology to fix the problem. I'm going to take an example of Singapore. Singapore is a very small country that has high density of population. People needed space for accommodation. They know that they cannot have or build a house on the ground anymore. The land became so expensive. So the government now use the technology, build home in the vertical line for people to live instead of letting people build their homes on the land. They use vertical housing. Right? People are now living in the condominium. And within the condominium, it contains with variety types of facilities that people need to sustain their life. There's a sports center within the building. There's a clinic within the building. There's a shopping area within the building, restaurant and all. So everything is contained in one building. We can only do that if we have the technology. With the plantation, Singapore does not have enough land for big plantations, so they develop agricultural techniques that allow the farmers to grow things vertically, right? Grow things up into the sky like that. So my point is that the density of the population push for the city to be more developed. There's no way out, but we gotta develop ourselves by using the technologies to survive. But if we look at the people in the countryside or people who live in the less developed countries where things are available, like Thailand, if you take a look at the northeastern region people, things are available for them. The freshwater life, the fish, the shells, the crabs, they are in the water. The vegetations are everywhere in the bush, in the forest, around the communities and things like that. There's no need to push themselves to work hard. There's no need for them to apply more technologies into their daily living. They get the things that they need. They don't think that they are missing out anything. They don't think that they need to improve or advance anything. So the area that have lesser density of population will be lesser developed. Question, the next question ค่ะ ไหนจ๊ะ ก็ถือว่าเป็น summary ไปถือว่าเป็น remind ไป What about effect explain the effects อะไรเนี่ย explain what affects the distribution of population ฮะปรากฏทำไมเขียนผิดเนี่ยทำไมนะคะ reword ก่อน reword ก่อน It's supposed to be explain the effect of the distribution of population. Change from the word what to the effects. I told you this last time. The effect of distribution of population and how the government overcomes the issues of the high density of population. I don't remember if I told you already, but I'm going to repeat one more time just to be on the safe side that everyone gets this. When there's a high density of population, the standard of living usually decline. It is a government duty to make sure that they improve and maintain people's standard of living. Whenever the standard of living decline, that's the government job to step in and make sure that everyone have good life. However, to provide enough basic needs, basic infrastructure for people in the city, it could cost big amount of money. And there's a possibility that the investment of better infrastructures could cause the whole country economy to decline. What I'm trying to say here is that it is so expensive to improve and provide better infrastructure in the city. The amount of money required for this kind of improvement could cause our whole economy to decline. I'm going to give you example of Sukhumvit line. The land around that area, one rai could cost up to 500 million baht to 1,000 million baht just for one rai of land around Sukhumvit. If the government were to build a road, another road parallel with Sukhumvit line to reduce the traffic, that means the government have to purchase the buildings that are already there, torn them down and build a road. Imagine how much the government will have to spend. Not only that, they have to spend on purchasing the land. They're going to have to pay for those buildings compensation. One condominium, one studio room, 5 million baht. One big condominium may have about a few hundred units. So let's say 200 units times 4 million baht. That's how much the government have to pay for the compensation if they want to torn that building down and build a road on, torn it down and build a road on it. Along Sukhumvit line, how many condominiums, how many buildings, how much of the land that the government have to purchase. So to build just one road, maybe 5 kilometers, it could be trillions of baht that the government have to spend. That could cause the whole Thai economy to collapse. Same thing with the wires, the electric wires that you see in Bangkok. We have been questioning, why can't we put it underground? Okay, why can't we put it underground? Why can't we organize it? When we look at the amount of money for this kind of improvement, it's a big chunk of money right there that we don't have. That's why it's still hanging. The wires are still hanging. Because to dig the ground, you have to rebuild the whole thing, like rebuild the whole footpath. And sometimes you may disturb the buildings nearby, and you also have to pay for the compensation if you destroy or affect their buildings. So it's not easy to provide basic needs and to make sure that everyone have good standard of living when there's a high density of population living in the area. The best strategy that most governments prefer is to encourage people to migrate to the outskirts of the city. They cannot fix things in the city anymore. Everything is so packed, everything is so expensive. If they want to make sure people's standard of living is okay, they encourage people to move out to the outskirts of the city. Like right now, the government encourage people to move to Rangsit area, Ratchaphuk area, Saraya, Puttamonthon, these areas. These areas are still empty. The cost of the land are still reasonable, affordable for the government. So the government could build more roads, more water facilities, more educational facilities, medication facilities. The new roads that we have from Bangkok to here is ไม่ใช่3 ปราณนกปิ่นเกล้า I don't know if you ever, yeah, still affordable. More roads are going to be built from Bangkok all the way to around this region. Water supply is decent, electricity supply decent, hospital schools are decent. That's how they reduce the problems of, or fix the problems of high density of population, encourage people to migrate to the outskirts, and provide better and organized facility for the people out here. When people see that, well, look at Saraya, Nakhon Pathom, beautiful houses at affordable price, good roads, good facility, let's move out. So some Bangkok people are now moving out. And they have, once they are out from the city, their standard of living improve. That's it, ค่ะ Already. Your next question ค่ะ Factors that cause the decline in birth rate in 19th century. Highlight the keyword 19th century. Decline in birth rate in 19th century. 3 factors ค่ะ The first factor, falling rate of infant mortality. Already have it here. Before 19th century, for the parents, if they were expected to have 5 children that could grow up into adulthood, they would have extra babies because not all their children will survive to the adult age. Some of them may die before that. So if you are expected to have 5 children that could grow up to adulthood, you probably will have to have 10 children extra, because you know that they will die before they reach adulthood. Before 19th century, there were numbers of causes of death: poor sanitation, diseases that spread out and kill people, natural disaster, food shortage and famine. kill the young kids. A lot of them die before they even reach age of 1. So parents, they usually have extra baby just in case if some of them die. That's why the birth rate remains so high. But 19th century, when the death rate dropped down, it caused the birth rate to also drop down as well. Parents no longer have to have extras. If they are expecting to have 5 children that can grow up into adulthood, they only have 5 children. No more extra. That's why birth rate dropped down. During this time, we have better medication that save lives, more food supplies for people, and more education for people to take care of themselves. So people live longer. No more extra babies. Birth rate dropped down. Next factor, economic factor. Industrial Revolution started around the beginning of 18th century. That's when it started. Reached its peak 1850. That's when it reached its peak. Everyone got rich 1850. And it declined 1870. 1870, that's when it declined. As I mentioned to you guys last class, that once the Industrial Revolution started, a lot of people gained so much wealth. They became so attached to luxury lifestyles. They made so much that they could spoil themselves. They purchased luxury food, expensive food, luxury clothes, luxury furniture, use the money to travel and enjoy themselves. They kind of like that kind of lifestyle, attached to it. They became self-centered. We have a theory that called this self-centered situation. We call it as economic self-interest. Economic self-interest. Mentioned this before. That people care more for their own well-being. They saw children as expenses. They saw children as responsibilities that they have to manage. More work for them when they have children. All right, more work for them when they have children. Children are expenses. People wanted to just be happy with their life. They were not willing to sacrifice their happiness with anyone, even their own blood. They don't want to sacrifice their happiness with their children. They want themselves to come first. In 1970s, the economy started to decline in many countries. So as the Industrial Revolution, it started to decline. There were numbers of factors that caused the decline. Don't write it down. It's gonna be too much information. There were numbers of the factors that caused the decline. People produce too much products, not enough consumers, not enough buyers. So people wasted a lot of money investing and producing the product, but nobody buy it. The number of population did not increase fast enough. Okay? It cannot catch up with the increase in production. Like we produce very fast during Industrial Revolution. We produce super fast, produce a product super fast, but we tend not to produce children at all. So when we are not producing children, it means lesser customers, not enough customers to consume the products that we produce. The producing product rate is faster than producing human babies. Like we don't produce fast enough. So when the two things are not aligned with one another, when they're not cooperating with one another, the economy declines. We produce more than the demand, right? Once again, 1870. when the economy declined, people still wanted to hold on to their lifestyles. They put more control over pregnancy and try to make sure that they are not getting pregnant, so the birth rate dropped down. Thus that they put more control over pregnancy to prevent themselves from getting pregnant or having to be parents and have to spend more money on children. The birth rate dropped down. This is the only way that the people can maintain their standard of living. The next factor, urbanization and liberalization. The main idea here is that the urbanization push for people to be liberated. The urbanization push for people to be liberated from the oppression in the society. Oppression from politics, oppression from culture, oppression from the economic pressure. So liberation made people become free, more free. And liberation allowed people to empower themselves more. Now, you don't have to write this down, just try to understand this. Urbanization means the development of the city. All right? City became more organized, more developed. We created zoning for all the building types. Before the development of urbanization, things could be established anywhere. The factories could be right next to the hospital, okay? Or the factory could be right next to the residential areas. And then the people were exposed to all the pollution from the factories and things like that. Traffic was very bad. Nothing was organized at all. But with the urbanization, we created the zoning. The houses, the people accommodation will be located in certain spots that far away from the industrial area. And then right next to the residential area, we may have educational area or medical area. We make things more organized and more functionable for everyone in the city. Apart from that, we apply technological use into all aspects of life in the city. What I'm saying is that all the things in the city must reword. The technology is implemented in all aspects in life. For example, if you driving on a freeway, instead of you having to pay the toll to the human staff, now you pay through the machine. You can just drive through the channel right away. It reduces the traffic. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait for the change, giving the money, getting the ticket. It's a waste of time. It may cause the traffic. But when you use the technology, you use the automatic easy pass, M pass, you can go through, reduce the traffic. Life becomes easier when you don't have to stuck in the traffic. Or when you go to the bank, now you have to press the queue. You want to deposit the money, you press the queue and you just wait for your queue to turn. And sometimes you don't have to go to the human staff. You go to the machine to deposit, withdraw your money. Everything's operated by technology. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you want to become successful living in the city, you want to be comfortable living in the city, you have to have some level of education. So you will know how this technology works. So you will know how the city functions. All right. Now, in order for you to know how the city functions and all, you've got to get education. Consequently, this is what's important. The city push you to get education, and consequently, you learn more things about, you learn more things than just how the city operates. You get to learn new philosophies in life. For example, you learn new human rights concept. You learn new political concept. You learn new economic concept. You now aware that you should have self-control. You should be empowered. Right? You should know that you can make your own decision. You can exercise things according to what you want. Okay? You can make your own decision. With this new human rights concept, it liberates a lot of women from cultural oppression. It save women from cultural oppression, allow women to be free. Now, women no longer have to get married at certain age anymore. They make their own decision when they want to get married, and they usually delay their marriage to later. Over here, they delay their marriage to later. So when they delay their marriage, chances that they're going to get pregnant is low. So the birth rate is automatically low when women delay their marriage. And when they decide not to get married, there's chances that they will get pregnant. Birth rate remain low. Most of women prefer to be in workforce, earning their own living, using the money to enjoy themselves, rather than using the money to raise children. So the human rights concept create more effects on women, change women worldview, allow women to have more power to make their own decision. So consequently, the birth rate drop down. That's all. The rest are not. I already covered most of it. So just skim it. I already covered most of this. Now these are examples of the pyramid that you will see. I already explained you the pyramid question. ไม่มีอะไรแค่นี้ Lecture 5. The rest just skim it. Stick with your own note. You will be great. You'll be fine. With lecture 5, we are going to look at economic activity. There are 3 major economic activities. Primary economic activities, secondary economic activities, and tertiary economic activities. Primary economic activity is a type of economic activity that allow you to have direct use, direct benefits over the natural resources. Direct use, direct associations, direct benefits over the natural resources. You can make direct use right away from the nature. For example, farmers, they till the land, they plant the seed, they harvest from the nature, they harvest from the plants. The plant is the nature. So direct use, direct consumption. Once again, guys, example of primary economic activities are things like farming, fishery, fishing, fishery. You go into the ocean, collect the fish for profit, sea life for profit. Farming, fishery, forestry, T-R-Y, forestry. You cut down trees from the forest, turn the trees into products. right? Direct use, direct profit. You cut tree, you sell it, you get direct profit right away. Mining. You dig the ground, extract the minerals, and sell it for profit. Direct use, direct consumption, right? Now, secondary economic activities refer to manufacturing activities. You turn raw material into an upgrade product and sell it at higher price in larger market. One more time. You turn the raw material into an upgrade product, sell it at higher price at a larger market to make larger profit. Primary economic activity mostly allow the people to receive reasonable income. Very rare that people could gain wealth from it. There are some cases that people gain wealth from it, but mostly rare. Mostly rare, right? If you take a look at petroleum production, yes, some of these people, they gain wealth from it. The people that practice monoculture, yes, they can gain wealth from it. But majority of the people that practice primary economic activity, they still remain poor. I don't know if you ever noticed, we have big gems mining in Chantaburi, rubies, sapphire and all. Some people over there, they own the whole mine, but they're still not rich. They still have a lot of expenses. They're not so wealthy. So even though they're dealing with some precious stone like that, but still not making much profit from it. So primary economic activity, you also have to depend on your luck as well, because not everyone can gain much wealth from it. However, industrial activities mostly provide people with high income. People can easily gain wealth from this kind of activity. I'm going to give you an example. If you are a farmer producing pineapple, okay, if you are a farmer producing pineapple, you can sell it at maybe 5 baht for one pineapple. That's how much the primary economic activity gives to you. 5 baht for one pineapple. But for the industrialists, they turn these raw material, this pineapple, into pineapple can. All they have to do is put the pineapple into a machine. The machine will chop the skin off, chop the pineapple into pieces, soak into the syrup, put it in the can, put some preservation in it. The can of pineapple could cost up to 50 baht. If you sell it as a farmer, you sell it at 5 baht. That's how much you get. You probably get about 50 satang profit from your pineapple. But with the industrialists, they turn this raw material into an upgrade product. They sell it at 50 baht. And they produce pineapple cans in large quantity. They sell it to different markets out there, reach larger market and make more profit. Right? Tertiary economic activity, the last type of economic activity. These type of economic activities are mostly deal with intangible products, invisible products, mostly, not all, mostly dealing with intangible products. People are selling their specialties, their skills to earn living. Like for example, you are very good at mathematics, you have mathematics skill. That skill is not an object, it's not a product. You cannot see that math skill, but it's there. So since you're very good at math, you become an accountant. You earn your living from being an accountant or math teacher. You don't see the real product, but it's there, it's intangible. You earn money from it. You're selling that skill. Okay. Doctors, lawyers as well. They provide special services. We don't see those services, but it's there. They make money from it. Tertiary economic activity also concerned with marketing strategy. Marketing strategy. Selling and buying of products. Apart from selling skills, selling specialties, also deal with marketing strategies, selling and buying of the products. The next one, next important point. In less developed countries, primary economic activities can generate main source of income for the country. Less developed country, primary economic activity can make main source of income for the country. The asset or the profit from primary economic activity is used to improve industrial sector within the less developed country. The money, the profit from the farming, from the agricultural sector will be used to improve industrial sector and will be used to provide basic needs for the people. I use the word provide, highlighted. For explaining why it's important. They use the money from agricultural sector to provide basic needs for the people in the country. And some they use to improve industrial sector. Right. For the developed countries, secondary economic activities can generate main source of income for a country. Okay, the secondary generate main source of income for the country. The developed country also practice primary economic activity. But the income from the primary economic activity will be used to only maintain and sustain the economy in the country. The income from primary economic activities in developed country will be used to maintain and sustain the economic activity. The thing is, the demand for products often change. We can hardly detect when it is going to change. Okay, so even if the developed countries make a lot of money from industrial sector, but there's no guarantee that people will always want the products that the country produce. There's a possibility that some year the country may make less money. They may not be able to sell the manufactured products that they have because the trend, the consumer trend change or the demand change in the global market. Let's say if they produce a cell phone, turns out that by next year people no longer want to use a cell phone. They may want to use other devices for the communication. So if you produce phone, you might not be able to make a sale. Your income, your country income may decrease. You will only survive and you will only survive and be able to protect your economy only if you have the primary economic sector that help you out. What I'm saying is if you don't make enough from industrial sector, at least you have agricultural sector or primary economic sectors that still bringing income to your country. It helps make sure that your economy is still okay, even if something happened to your industrial sector. You will still have some money from primary economic sector to save your economy. Right? The next important thing is that income from secondary economic activity will be used to advance technology, advance infrastructure in the developed countries. Advance means making things better, more superb. Developed countries, they already have basic needs, basic infrastructure, they already have those. But the extra money that they get from industrial sector will be used to advance it, upgrade it, make it more fancy, make it better. Now, back and look at less developed countries. I use the word provide. I said the income from primary economic activity will be used to provide basic needs. That means the less developed country did not have those basic needs to begin with. So they need the money from agricultural sector or from the primary economic activity to help provide things for people, make things happen, provide more schools, okay? Provide provide healthcare, provide roads, provide water supply, provide, make it happen. But for developed countries, they use that money to advance things that they already have, make it better. For less developed countries, they are not aiming to prioritize primary economic activity forever. They only use it temporarily. They are expecting that once their industrial sector improves, they could become an industrialized country and will be listed as developed countries. So basically, for less developed countries, primary economic activity is just a bridge for them to cross over to become an industrialized country. It's just a bridge for them to cross over. They are not expecting to be an agricultural country forever. They just have to do it now because it makes income for them. Okay, they're just hoping that they will use a little bit of money here and there from agricultural sector and put it in the industrial sector. Once industrial sector is improved more, they are going to replace the economic activity from primary economic activity to industrial economic activity. Most people overlook at primary economic activity because it's a hard work. You have to go into the ocean and experience all kinds of storm, big wave, the heat and all to get the sea life. You're right, your life are mostly at risk when you are having the fishery activities like this. Very risky. And if you are a farmer, you have to wait for months to be able to harvest and sell your product. And then you won't be able to sell your product at high price because most of the time the government take control over the price of the agricultural products. Sometimes you don't have access to the market. You won't be able to sell your product. Sometimes the nature is not suitable for your agriculture. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's dry, sometimes there's a natural disaster. A lot of risk when you deal with primary economic activity. People don't want to do it. They only do it because they don't have a choice. Hard work, less income. They only use it as a bridge, like I said, to go over, to cross over and become an industrialized country. That's all for today. 好了。